Well, it took us about 48 hours to get across the Sea of Cortez and then further south down into the Pacific Ocean. And then we reached Mazatlan. So here we're just motoring past the main part of the city and heading toward the Old Town anchorage.
This is the Mazatlan Harbor entrance. There's the breakwater. Other side is a large rock. I recall the Mazatlan traffic harbor captain and got permission for us to come in and proceed.
As we approached this narrow entrance to the port, we had to call and get permission to enter, just to make sure we didn't interfere with any of the large cruise ships or commercial ships that go in and out of that passage. Then we just hung a left and looked for a nice open spot to anchor. Cheers!
So we made it to Mazatlan, and we came to Mazatlan Harbor to area called Club Nautico to anchor. It's a very busy little harbor. Not little harbor, Mazatlan Harbor in general is a very busy harbor, and but the Club Nautico area is quite busy as well. It has a lot of tour boats that are coming and going, and when we first came in, it was a little confusing because it looks like there's certain areas where the tour boats are picking up their passengers, and it was kind of, I just assumed, or maybe we both just assumed, that they had a clear path to go in and out to pick up passengers. Turns out that's not the case. They just kind of weave in and out between all of the anchored boats, and that means that we kind of thought of a couple places to anchor and then thought we were in their way. We could have just anchored there. In general, it's very wide open and easy anchorage to, I guess, to anchor in. What do you think? What say you, Tyler?
Yeah, I would say it was pretty straightforward coming in. The channel was clearly marked. We radioed the port captain, which is the transit authority, the Transito Maritimo, and asked permission to enter the harbor. He gave us permission to proceed, and we just came in and hung left immediately after the breakwater, and there's this big wide open anchorage. So yeah, I think that it's going to be a good place to be for a couple of days while we get some things done before we head on farther south. We got in a good night's sleep and then headed up to Marina Mazatlan in some choppy seas and strong headwinds, but we managed to make it into the marina just fine. We actually spent a couple of days there and enjoyed the restaurants as well as walking along the Malecon and the beach there in front of the town. Got to enjoy some of the artwork. After a couple days, we headed back to the Old Town anchorage and found another place to anchor. While we were there, we took another trip back into town to spend some time in Old Town Mazatlan and see some of the architecture and just watch the people, drink some coffee, and see some of the art that was in the Old Town area. It was very beautiful. We noticed several of these very large, colorful statues that had been set up to celebrate Carnival, which was happening that week. We also visited the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception, which is the largest religious structure in Mazatlan. It was built in, well, it was started in 1856, but it took many years to build, so we noticed a mixture of different architectural styles incorporated within the building as they added on to it or remodeled it. One of the unique features of this particular cathedral was its yellow limestone walls on the outside. We've seen a lot of cathedrals in Mexico, and this is the only one with that yellow limestone.
So we just got back we took the dinghy over and we went into Mazatlan. We went to Old Town, went to the Basilica. We are now headed back to the boat. And there you go, there she is, back there where Tyler is waiting for me.
We decided to stay one more night before leaving so that we could go into town again and experience Carnival in Mazatlan. Carnival del Pacifico is the third largest carnival in the world, only behind Rio in Brazil and Mardi Gras in New Orleans. There's about 500,000 people in Mazatlan, and it felt like most of them were there that night. There were 21 or 23 different large stages of different bands displaying all different types of music, traditional Mexican music, more modern music. It was quite something to see. The festivities went on for many hours, and we were not going to be able to stay up that late. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, but we still noticed lots of families out dancing and eating food and just having a good time. And even though it was such a very large crowd, everyone was so respectful and polite, and we really enjoyed that. It was one of the experiences that we'll never forget about Mazatlan. And of course, we capped the night off with a beautiful display of fireworks over the city. But now it was very, very early in the morning, and we had to start thinking about getting ready to leave Mazatlan and head further south. Join us next time as we travel south to Isla Isabel, the Galapagos of Mexico. Hey, please remember to like and subscribe, and if you have any comments, just leave them down below, and we'll see you next time.